it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're zooming in on the experience of narcissism in family, the legacy of shame-based relationships that carry on from one generation to the next, from one family tradition to the next, from one family gathering to the next. And this is the experience of a perpetual shame-based relationship that occurs really as an multi-generational and multi-dynamic when we talk about narcissism and families. So what exactly is the foundation of narcissism? Narcissism is the experience of one being more important than the other, superior over the other, but really with unfounded or unwarranted reality or reality testing, coupled with a lack of empathy, which means it's shutting out of another person's feelings. It's the shutting out of another person's reality. It's the invalidating of their presence, really, which is the foundation of growth in life, which is having a strength-based culture within families. So it's to, when we talk about true functioning is when you're able to pull out the unique strengths of each person and realizing that each person is here for their own presence, for their own talents, for their own strengths. And that when you have children, they're not mirrored reflections of you. They're not cookie cutters of you. They're not there to satisfy your needs. You're there to guide them and help them develop and flourish from their own unique talents, set of strengths and individuality, and pulling that out from within versus reflecting who you want them to be. So we hear about shame-based family systems. When you hold a narcissist parent will hold a model or a yardstick to this child, which is serving as to be a reflection of them, an example of them, a satisfaction of their narcissistic needs for them, versus allowing that child to be who they are unconditionally and unconditionally loving them, embracing them, and encouraging them to be who they are. Instead, that is flipped around, where the child is now there to satisfy their narcissistic needs, their needs to be taken care of, reflected positively in the eyes of the parent, versus the other way around, where the parent is there reflecting the positive, mirroring to that child for who they are. So it's really a twisted design or dysfunction in a family. And I'm striving here for really an experiential as well as a technical use of terms so you can see this when we talk about dysfunction in narcissist parental and family systems. And this is in response to a viewer question who had inquired about this. And I want to really plug in to John Bradshaw, who describes shame-based marriage and parental modes. And he said it's an obvious that a major source of toxic shame is the family system and multi-generational patterns of unresolved secrets. And he says, more specifically, these families are created by the shame-based people who will find and marry each other. Each expects the other to parent the child within him or her. And each is incomplete and insatiable. So when you have two narcissistic people coming together, they're very childish, they're very immature. Furthermore, they're both incomplete and insatiable. So what this means is they're coming from a space of being incomplete versus being whole and complete. And not that everybody is existing on a continuum, but when we talk about narcissism, they are not feeling complete in and of themselves. Again, when we talk about that internal locus of control, it is not, they don't have that security. They're not entering into a relationship with that security. They're entering into the relationship with really a void. which is it's very much an immaturity, but more so it's a shame-based personality disorder. And so when there is this shame, when there is this embarrassment or feeling like there's something inherently wrong with them, they cover up that with narcissism. So they will, instead of having that humility and processing, feeling insecure from the legacy that they had inherited from their family of origin, rather than them being able to process it, they conceal it, they cover it up with this inflated sense of ego, of being greater than, of being grandiose, of being larger than life, of, this great, huge ego. I mean, just, an ego that can fill a room, yet underneath they feel very, very insecure, and very unhappy, very dissatisfied. So that's why you can find these people who have accumulated and amassed all this wealth, the greatest job, the greatest income. People would covet and love to have this sort of comfortable lifestyle that they do, especially when we talk about people from other countries or who are very impoverished, who, by virtue of where they live, they just can't even rise up out of the poverty, that they would have so much disdain for people, yet these people are seeking psychological help because they're so unhappy or they have so much anxiety for the pressure that they've put on themselves to maintain these high levels of success. So, there's a real interesting dynamic when you talk about the trappings of success and then family dynamics as it relates to that dysfunction. Really, the shame-based marriage and parental models is very much founded in a shame-based rule system, which they live by. In other words, you have to perpetually shame somebody to be doing your parental job. You have to be constantly inflicting errors or error messages onto others in their family for you to feel like you're interacting. They can't interact on a positive, supportive, nurturing, loving level. It's just too uncomfortable for them. They don't exist. They don't feel this underneath, so they can't give what they don't have. So when you see this in this family system, John Bradshaw describes this very well in his book, Healing the Shame That Binds You. He's a very prolific writer in this topic, and I think really one of the best. He talks about when you've got two narcissistic parents, each is incomplete and each is insatiable, which means they have a discontent as part of their personality foundation. They have an insatiable need, and forgive me if I'm, kind of thinking here. Sam Batkin talks about the narcissist as insatiable as well. In other words, there's no bounds to his rage. There's no bounds. There's no end to the dissatisfaction. There's no end to the amount of errors that they can find or flaws that they can find in people. It just gets worse with time as well. You cannot help these, you cannot help. They are perpetual flaw finders. They really are. I mean, it almost becomes laughable, the amount of flaws, questioning, and demands that they have, yet they are so very unhappy. I mean, their needs, to be pleased are way up here, yet the flaws that they find in other people are so, they keep everybody so low. It's almost, once you really work through this and you're really able to see it and identify it, you're really able to see how they perpetuate and create a lot of their own pits that they fall into. They create a lot of dysfunction through this dynamic. Well, and he talks about furthermore how this insatiability is rooted in each person's unmet childhood needs. When two adult children meet and fall in love, the child in each looks to the other to fill his or her needs. Since in love is a natural state of fusion, The incomplete children fuse together as they had done in this symbiotic stage of intimacy. Each feels a sense of oneness and completeness. And since in love is always erotic, each feels oceanic in the sexual embrace. An oceanic love is without boundaries. Being in love is as powerful as any narcotic. One feels whole and ecstatic. And he talks about furthermore, this state cannot last. And he talks then about how this oneness and lack of boundaries and this euphoria eventually arrives in dysfunction. And it becomes very chaotic. It becomes very perfectionistic. It becomes very blame-based. It becomes very much rooted in denial. And it becomes very much a no-talk sort of situation. In other words, since they can't process, they can't communicate. So the narcissist parents, parental system becomes very dysfunctional. They can't talk. People can't listen to each other. People can't make mistakes. You can't rely. You can't trust. So the end result of narcissist parenting results in a really emphatic no talk, no listen, no warmth family system or family value system. So when you talk about family values, the family values in a narcissist system are one of denial. Family values are one of not communicating. The family values are one of not listening. The family values are you can't make mistakes. The family values are you can't be human. But, all these qualities of making mistakes and learning through them, it's natural to make mistakes. It's natural to learn. It's natural to learn how to pick yourself up and learn from your mistakes, and furthermore become a learned person, a wise person. So this is actually the core of what people need to develop and grow and actually make themselves a success, and not feel embarrassed by having emotional people to connect to. And this interconnected, it's almost like the children of narcissistic parents are shamed for desiring connectedness. So it's a very horrific, difficult thing to climb up beyond, because there's no place to put the rungs of your ladder. You need to get different ground, which means you need to really individuate without having parents, without having that support. They might have provided the shell of a parent. They might have provided the shell of parenting, meaning food on the table, a roof over the head, clothes on the back, but yet there's an emotional lack of parenting involved, because of their rootedness in shame, because of their own unmet childhood needs. They don't have anything to draw from. They can't give to you in this way. So very much where you could have provided for them in this way, it becomes the child providing for the parent in this situation. So there's very much a feeling of lack of family connectedness or lack of family values. And this is because of these family rules, which are lack of trust. We don't trust each other here. We just go with it. We don't, and if by grace of God, the people are able to make money or have talents where they can really shine, that's a real godsend. And so, the family values, which become family no values, you really have to break apart. You really have to separate. You really have to distinguish yourself and have true values, which are based on humanity, which are based on listening, which are based on trust, which is based on support, which is based on giving, which is based on being whole and integrity, and having this wholeness and autonomy and self-governing integrity that you direct your life with, and that you're free to have what psychologists call industry, which arrives at a very young age, which you can feel industrious without feeling ashamed of yourself, which you can have relationships and not feel ashamed of yourself or embarrassment or humility, that you're going to be berated, belittled, insulted for being less than perfect or being a person in general. These family values need to almost be the flip side, which you then branch off and create of your own, usually generally feeling very separate or outside of your family of origin. So it's almost as if you're creating a new legacy, a rebirth of your family tree, as disconnected from the true, what do you call the archaeology of your family lineage. It's almost like a break of lineage, and you're creating a lineage anew with real salt of the earth, real true long-lasting values that can be passed on. And so I hope this helps erudiate a little bit of the narcissistic parental model and how it develops a dysfunction, and furthermore how you can create function out of the dysfunction. And I will do more videos on these, as I think it's a very important and has a great rippling effect to creating happiness, wholeness, and really betterment in society in general. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.